What I'm going to present to you is an adventure survival guide to Runeterra. A lot of you will just be entering into the Riot MMO eventually, and you'll believe that you're ready for adventure. Truth is, you're wrong. This world is not a gentle place. It's an entity of immense power and breathtaking cruelty, filled with ancient grudges, warring demigods, and horrors that scrabble at the edges of reality. The greatest army you ever possess is not forged in steel, but knowledge. This guide is that knowledge. It is a threat assessment ranking the major regions from the most welcoming havens to the most certain of graves. Read carefully. Your life will depend on it. And this is, I really feel like Riot team did a great job picking this image for the Riot MMO, because this is Cytherea of Cloudfield. She's a real card in Legends of Runeterra, and I feel like she gives the vibe of a new adventure. And then, you know, not everything works out in Runeterra, honestly. Like, Runeterra is not a soft place by any means. Actually, I think Runeterra is pretty harsh. Let's just get into the list. A lot of these images that you're going to see at the top come from Realms of Runeterra, so like this image right here, starring Piltover and Zon. This come from this book. I really recommend that you read it. Picture the map of Runeterra as a book. It's great. But at number 13 spot, I put Piltover and Zon. Because at a glance, Piltover is the safest harbor in Runeterra. It is Valoron's cultural and commercial hub, a thriving, progressive city where power comes from commerce and forward thinking, not military power. Order is maintained by the well-equipped wardens, providing a structured system of law enforcement, absent in many other locales. The primary dangers are born not of malice, but of accident and ambition. As a global center for hextech research, the greatest threat you'll be facing really is just like a miscalibrated experiment exploding in a nearby workshop. The other significant danger is crime spilling over, not even from Piltover, a sister city below Zon. An adventure is safe in Piltover precisely because the risks inherent to its city are just toxic runoff, volatile experiments, and crushing inequality have been physically displaced and forced upon the populace of Zon. So that's always good. You know, if you enter a city and every single problem you could ever have is just imposed upon another city, well, hey, then that city's pretty good and pretty safe. I really like this image because it shows you like how far of a stretch it is from Piltover to Zon. You start up at Piltover up top and you scroll all the way down, you start seeing like the couple different levels, the Entroso level, keep going down, and all the way down here you see the sump. I thought this is just an awesome image. You scroll through it, it's so massive. Really cool image. My adventurer's verdict for Piltover is it's the ideal starting point. Your biggest risk is being swindled by a merchant clan or getting caught in a hextech blast. Just keep your coin purse secure and avoid any alleys that lead ever downward, and you should be good. Piltover is a safe place. Next on my list for pretty safe, Demacia, the Kingdom of Justice. Threat level, I put conditional here because it really is conditional. It could be one of the most dangerous places in all of Runeterra. Demacia presents itself as a bastion of justice, honor, and duty. For the average non-magical adventurer, this translates to a remarkably secure and predictable society where laws are strictly enforced. However, this safety is conditional, hinging entirely on one question. Can you use magic? Founded by refugees of the Rune Wars, Demacia is built upon petrocite, which is a white stone that dampens magical energy. There's a great shot of here where you can see the petrocite forests. But yeah, look at the petrocite forest, like it's massive. This is what they look like. This is what the petrocite forest looks like in Demacia. Very nice, very white, and very harsh on mages. So founded by refugees of the Rune Wars, Demacia is built upon petrocite, a white stone that dampens magical energy. This foundational fear has evolved into a brutal state policy. Magic is forbidden, and those born with it are hunted by the mage seekers. For any adventurer who wields magic, Demacia is not a sanctuary, it is a prison. The rigid ideology has plunged the nation into turmoil, fueling a burgeoning civil war led by the mage revolutionary Silas. And that's the biggest problem with Demacia. Their vision of like the Rune Wars has been twisted over the years. I think definitely, in my opinion, and I don't even know if it's an opinion, I feel like it's pretty obvious, especially if you're a mage seeker, that this was corrupted by the Black Rose. Like, Mage Seeker organization has been corrupted from the inside. They twisted it where it used to be like a fear of the Rune Wars, fear of evil people wielding runes of destruction. They twisted that to a fear of magic in general. And that resulted in them literally imprisoning their own citizens out of this fear. And that's what led to the Silas, the Silas Revolution and the rebellion. If you go to like the Mage Seeker game, right here, you can literally see Morgana's vision of the past. She shows you in the game like the past. and like they found refuge from the Rune Wars. And they show mages helping build Demacia. You can see here, these are mages helping build Demacia. Magic was used for good in Demacia. A lot of people used it. It was a good thing. But then they twisted the vision of Demacia and why it created its founding to be a fear of magic, and now it's not a safe place for any mage. So, and my adventure verdict for Demacia is it's safe if you fit their narrow mold. If you are a mundane warrior who values order, you'll find a structured society and you'll be really happy. But if you possess even a spark of magic, this is one of the most dangerous places on Runeterra. Demacia, that's my take. Don't go there. If you're not a mage, Demacia is great. If you are, stay clear, please. Please, save yourself. Save yourself. Don't do it. You'll end up in prison, drinking petricite. At number 11, I put Ionia, the First Lands. Threat level is low to medium. This is, again, like the art from the book, Realms of Runeterra. I really recommend you read it. It's amazing. But do not be fooled by Ionia's breathtaking beauty. This massive archipelago, where the border between the material and spirit realm is thin, is a place of deep and subtle danger. The Noxian invasion shattered Ionia's pacifist traditions, leaving its society fractured in an uneasy peace. And there's really a division in Ionia between what the next move is. You have groups like the Sojin monks and the Kinku Order who believe they want to return to isolationist pacifism, right? These are some images of the Kinku Order. And then there's like a stark opposition to the more radical groups like the Navori Brotherhood, who really want to fight back. Same with Zed and the Order of Shadow. They want to weaponize the magic of Ionia against invaders. And it's really to protect Ionia. They don't want something like Noxus. Noxus came in and just dominated Ionia from the beginning. It's a bunch of pacifist farmers. Really, Ionia had no defense at all. And then all of a sudden they were like, okay, let's step up. And they started fighting back. But that was after the fact. And basically these guys don't want that to happen again. I think that there needs to be a nice middle ground. You don't just weaponize all of Ionia, you know? It doesn't have to be like Noxus Mach 2. But to be completely pacifist, I think, is the wrong move as well. And I think the Kinku Order being as pacifist as they are has a lot to do with Kennen, who's a problem. But the divide has created a dangerous internal schism. Factions like the Kinku Order seek a return to pacifism, while radical groups like the Navori Brotherhood and Zed's Order of Shadow demand the militarization of Ionia's magic to take vengeance on Noxus. Because the spirit realm is so permeable, this societal conflict has a direct physical impact on the environment. The collective anger and fear of the populace are bleeding into the land itself, corrupting the spirits and twisting nature into something hostile. And you could see that here in Zayan Rakan's cinematic, where Zed's literally corrupting the land to further his ends. And then once he's defeated, he is defeated here by Zayan Rakan, you can see the land kind of return back to its old ways. Which is really good because the Vastaya are running out of a species. They're basically going extinct because their power really comes from the forest. And when the forest dies, the Vastaya die. Their power weakens, and that's part of the reason why they can't have kids anymore. But yeah. Another thing that I did want to talk about is that there's a ton of demons in Ionia, which definitely adds to the danger. You can see, like, they're pretty deceptive. Yasuo has no idea that he's talking to a demon right here. Yeah, this is a demon. Yasuo has no idea. I think it's a demon of regret, really. It feeds on regret. It's feeding on the emotions. That's what demons do. They feed on the emotions, really bad human emotions, like fear, regret, anger. Maybe anger was a possible demon. I think that would be probably one of the 10 demon kings, like fiddlesticks. Agony, stuff like that. I do have a theory that Yordles feed on the opposite. They feed on like good human emotions, like happiness and joy. So they still feed on human emotions, but they're ones that are good, so we kind of like Yordles. But it does feel that way because there's some lore there with Fizz where he like literally goes into a coma when he experiences profound sadness and death. This is like a mural of Ionia finally standing up at the Placidium of Navori against the Noxians. So my adventure guide for Ionia is really tread lightly. You are less likely to be mugged and more likely to be caught in a skirmish between rival monastic orders, or devoured by a forest spirit angered by the local strife, or met with an Azakana. I think Ionia is like the largest concentration of demons in all of Runeterra. Next up on my list is Bandle City, the Timeless Realm, and my threat level here is deceptive. Bandle City is not a place on a map, it's a pocket of the spirit realm, a land of unfettered magic that is fundamentally incompatible with the mortal mind. The danger here is not physical, but perceptual. For a non-Yordle, every sensation is heightened. Food and drink are intoxicating for years, and one can easily become lost in a dream. The greatest threat is this realm's timeless quality. A visit that feels like an afternoon could span decades in the outside world. You do not find Bandle City, it finds you. Its danger is not malice, but that it is a fundamental nature is alien to mortal comprehension. It does not kill you, it pretty much erases you from the timeline of reality. You're on a separate spectrum there, and it's so intoxicating. People get lost in dreams and never return, and they end up, really most people never return from Bandle City. So I would say if you're a Yordle, and you see otherworldly gateways, go ahead and explore. Why not? You'll be fine. If you're immortal, if you're a human, like just a regular guy, do not go here under any circumstances. There's no treasure or glory worth losing your past, present, and future over. This is a place where adventures and memories of them come to end. I realize it's a dark twist on Bandle City, but that's because that's the case in the lore. Mortals do not go to Bandle City. Do not mess with Yordles. I think that's pretty obvious. Next up, Targon, the Celestial Peak. Threat level, medium to high. We're getting up there a little bit. Mount Targon is more than a mountain. It is a divine crucible that tests, judges, and consumes those who dare to scale its slopes. The climb itself is a brutal trial, and the mountain's flanks are littered with the bodies of those who have failed. You can literally see in this image, these are bodies that were frozen on the side of the mountain. And this image is called the Farewell. And the reason it's called the Farewell is because in a sacred farewell ceremony before climbing the mountain, those beginning their ascent are celebrated. And this day marks a moment when their fate of their souls is placed in the hands of Targon, most likely never to be seen again. So, good luck is what they're telling you. You're probably not going to make it. You can see one successful ascent in the case of Tiari. You can see him climbing the mountain, getting like these prayer beads of Taric to help him climb. He does actually make the ascent. I think his friends die. They see him later, Legends of Runeterra, but I've never heard of anyone climbing back down from Mount Targon. But he does go through like a sadness here when he gets near the top, and he doesn't have his friends with him anymore. The Taric does push him onward. Like here, Taric's gentle kindness inspires all who meet him, galvanizing them to find warmth within to bolster themselves on even the coldest of nights. I think that's because, his buddies didn't make it. Tiari's the last one here, but he does make it to the summit, and he eventually becomes the aspect of the traveler. You can see him here. Yeah, this is Tiari before, and he says,
"I'll become who I was always meant to be."
Then when he becomes the traveler, he says,
"I become who I was always meant to be."
Yeah. So that's Tiari's story. And, successful in what way? I really feel like people who become aspects kind of lose a part of themselves. We've seen that with Pantheon, kind of being taken over by the aspect of war. So how much is left of them after they assume being like kind of combined with an aspect? I really wonder that. So for the hardy few who reach the top, the true test begins. The mountain peers into your soul and passes judgment. Most are found lacking, but for a select few, the summit reveals a gateway to the celestial realm. This is not a reward. Those deemed worthy are changed beyond recognition, their mortal soul hollowed out to become a vessel for a cosmic aspect. You either die on the slopes or are rejected at the peak, or win by ceasing to exist as an individual, by being merged with an aspect. There's also the Solari on Mount Targon and Lunari. These are some pictures of them. They are warring factions. Solari worship the sun, Lunari worship the moon, and they disagree on what's the most powerful. Really, these are the two sisters, Leona and Diana, fused with these two sisters. Leona, obviously the aspect of the sun, and Diana, aspect of the moon, the silver sister. And literally the Hymen of the Hours says, though both were formed of cosmic light, they fought for they were two alike. And so these two split night from day, so each could always have their way. So the feud between the Solari and the Lunari really stems from these aspects, from the golden and silver sister not liking each other. So it's like a sister feud that spread all the way into the people of Targon. So how good can these people be imposing their own problems on regular people in Targon? Just my 2 cents. My adventure's verdict. Climb at your own soul's peril. The mountain does not care about your goals. It is a test with only one passing grade. Self-annihilation. Next up, Bilgewater. Bilgewater number 8. Threat level here, high. High. Welcome to Bilgewater, the festering heart of piracy, where fortunes are made and ambitions shattered in an instant. There is no formal government, only the bloody balance of power between pirate captains and crime lords. Violence is the primary language, and careless travelers often end their mornings floating in the harbor with their throats slit and their wallets emptied. The recent overthrow of the Reaver King Gangplank by misfortune has thrown the city into a violent power vacuum, and the peace is fragile. Beyond mortal dangers, the city is a frequent target for harrowings from the Shadow Isles, and its waters teem with colossal sea monsters. In Bilgewater, a new adventurer is seen as one of 2 things: a potential predator, or far more likely, fresh prey. I think this video does a great job explaining the harrowings and just how dangerous they are. They come from, the Shadow Isles, which is Viego's whole story. There's sea monsters. I really do think the sea monsters are smarter than we're led to believe. And Pike is literally the sea monster's vengeance for us on land, because Pike, when he kills captains, he kills captains of anyone associated with the bloody business of the slaughter docks. And the slaughter docks is where they literally string up the sea monsters, carve them up, and sell the pieces. The beasts are usually dead, so some of them are literally strung up alive. It's pretty sad. Pike, what does he do with captains? He strings them up and carves them and leaves them up for the morning sun. So Pike does the same thing that the captains do to sea monsters to them, and try to dissuade them basically from continuing. So the fact that Pike is doing that and he's been kind of twisted by sea monsters tells me that the sea monsters are smarter than we're led to believe. And I think we'll learn that in the RiotMMO. But yeah, how safe is it? Not very safe. Not a very safe place. Wouldn't recommend it. Another place that's not too safe, Noxus. Noxus is a brutal expansionist empire built on a simple philosophy: might makes right. It is an inclusive society where anyone can rise to power regardless of background, if they display the necessary strength. This promise of advancement draws the ambitious from all corners of the world. However, the meritocracy is a meat grinder. To rise within the empire, one must constantly prove their strength, often at the direct expense of their peers. The entire society is a high-stakes competition, where today's ally is tomorrow's rival. Any sign of weakness is a fatal flaw. An adventurer here is competing with every other citizen for the very right to exist and advance. I mean, these people just fight for fun, okay? You gotta understand, Noxus, might makes right. I really mean that. Like, if you're powerful, that's how you gain respect, and if you're not, you end up dead. It's like, picture Bilgewater, except what makes you weak is what kills you, rather than, your coin purse or something like that. You can see something really great here, I feel, is like this is like a Nox Cryo arena where they do battle and just literally fight to the death. These are gladiators. They're praised in Noxus. And some people just enter the arenas like, okay, there's gladiators here. Some of them are slaves from wars. For example, the Minotaurs a lot of times are used as fodder almost in these gladiatorial events. But you have like characters like Draven who literally just fight, for fun, for sport in the arenas. So it's a violent place, is what it is. There's also the Black Rose. I wouldn't recommend you mess with them. Here's the Nox Cryo arena. There's also some demonic presence. Look at the Ravenbloom Conservatory. That's definitely Anne there. And Tibbers, who's the demon of fire that served under Mordekaiser. Yeah, there's the Trifarian training pits. At my command, you will fight. If you kill your sparring partner, find another. If you fall, then die knowing your death made Noxus stronger. Trifarian soldiers, begin. This is literally a fight to the death, and within its own army, within its own ranks, to try to grow stronger. Insanity. Next up, Shurima. Threat level also high. Shurima is a continent-sized graveyard, a vast desert haunted by the ghosts of its fallen glory. The most immediate threat is the environment. Survival is a daily struggle against heat, thirst, and starvation. The true peril, however, comes from the titanic forces now warring over its soul. The resurrection of the Emperor Azir has triggered a continental conflict between demigods, including the arcane being Zirath and the ascended brothers Nasus and Renekton. Mortals in this conflict are not soldiers, they are insects caught under the feet of warring giants. You are not exploring a wild land, you are navigating the rubble of a fallen civilization whose powerful broken rulers are still fighting their ancient wars amongst the ruins. And Acathia is just to the south, which is literally covered in void. There's a Darkin named Harazi who's a pack of dogs running around killing anyone in his path. And stay away from the Psychalik because that is the Xerxai hunting ground and you will not survive. No one survives there. That's a Xerxai Dunebreaker. These are Xerxai callers. Not all Xerxai are born to butcher. Some summon their kin with piercing shrieks that rattle the sands as well as the senses. And these are Xerxai hatchlings. Once a caravan has been disabled, the hunters will occasionally retreat and allow their hatchlings forge forward. It is there that the young Xerxai refine their instincts, learning which sounds are of the desert and which signal their prey. So, would I recommend you go to Shurima? If you know to stay away from certain areas. Okay, the adventure verdict is it's a landmass of immense risk, potentially immense reward. The tombs hold untold riches, but are guarded by deadly curses, ravenous monsters, and demigods. Bring a great deal of water. It is a desert. Next up, Zaun. Threat level, very freaking high. Okay, we see Echo and Vi and Jinx surviving as children. They're surviving on the very superficial level of Zaun. We do see them go deeper as when they get a little bit older, but the fact that they survive everything in Arcane can only be associated with plot armor. Really. And they do lose though. I mean, you gotta remember like 2 of them die as kids, 2 of that group. So, not everyone makes it out of Zaun. If Piltover is a city of progress, well then Zaun is its price. Lying in the deep canyons below Zaun is a sprawling undercity where the very environment is a weapon. Decades of unfettered and reckless industry have rendered whole swaths of the city polluted. The very air you breathe and the ground you walk on is trying to kill you. This toxic environment has fostered society to match. Power is held by ruthless chem barons, who control their territories through violence. Reckless science is welcomed, leading to volatile chemtech and monstrous experiments with no oversight. In Zaun, the danger is ambient, constant, and inescapable. This is Dr. Mundo. He's a character in Zaun. I think he shows up in Arcane. He's like that guy with the tongue flipping all over the place. But I would stay away from Dr. Mundo anywhere he is because utterly mad and tragically homicidal and horrifyingly purple, Dr. Mundo is what keeps many of Zaun's citizens indoors on particular dark nights. With a full cabinet of medicine and 0 medical knowledge, he now makes himself more monstrous with each injection and terrifies the hapless patients who wander near his office. That's really what Zaun is, man. It feels like a bunch of mini haunted houses that you just don't want to go into because these ones are real. There's Zack, who's literally just a product of toxic spill. These are backstreet hextech deals. This is a chemtech Drake from Legends of Runeterra. Zaun demands adaptation and the chemtech Drake is no exception, casting this in the sickly green light of augmentation as it clings to the underbelly of the city. The twin shadows of the Drake's ruined wings loom along darkened passageways, harbingers of the fury born from anguish at its own corruption. Zaun, freaking stay away from there. Do not breathe deeply. Zaun is a city that will kill you slowly with its toxic environment. If the Chem Barons don't kill you quickly, one of the most desperate or deranged would seek their fortune here. I wouldn't go here, honestly. Zaun is a dangerous place. Try to stay away. But even more dangerous than Zaun, believe it or not, is Ishtal, which is threat level very freaking high. Ishtal is dangerous on purpose. Like Zaun is dangerous by accident. Toxic spills, runoff, whatever, they're just trying to get by. And it just so happens that it's a dangerous place. Ishtal chooses to be dangerous. It's secluded for millennia deep in a treacherous jungle. This nation actively despises outsiders, having witnessed the horrors that consumed the rest of the world. The Ishtali use their powerful elemental magic to enforce an aggressive policy of absolute isolation. The historical record is littered with ghosts of countless intruders who vanished without a trace. The jungle environment itself is a weapon, a verdant death trap of carnivorous flora and monstrous beasts that the Ishtali elementalists can manipulate at will. An adventurer entering this jungle is not viewed as a traveler. They are seen as a pathogen, a contamination to be purged. That's the truth about Ishtal. These people do not tolerate outsiders, and literally to the south, Zira pretty much controls this whole area, which is a living plant that will eat you alive. Literally. I think if we go here, you can see kind of the remnants of this story. Yeah, who needs a map? No, not this one. Conquerors for glory. This is one of the stories of Noxus. They start out here in near the Immortal Bastion. Yeah, I can read this to you. It's only 4 parts. I think it really shows what Noxus does and how dangerous Ishtal is. The jungle of Shurima are a frontier that the most ambitious generals would dearly love to claim for Noxus. Follow the expedition of Commander Yasar Tomari aboard the frigate Ardentuous as she attempts to carve out her place in the annals of history. Literally, Noxus says, hey, you want to make a name for yourself? You want to grow quickly in Noxus? Well, why don't you go ahead and go conquer Ishtal for us? And we'll put you freaking up there right with Borum Darkwill, and you'll be serving to the right hand of Swain, you know? Like, it's a big deal. Having petitioned Noxian High Command no fewer than 7 times, Fleet Officer Tamari is finally summoned to the capital to receive commission of her own. And the reason Tamari is doing this is because she believes that she deserves it. Like, she sees herself as very successful. Like, I did this, I did that, I'm great, I deserve recognition. That's why Tamari does this. She keeps petitioning. She petitioned 7 times, Commander, no fewer than 7 times. That's not a good thing. Noxus doesn't look at that as a good thing. That looks at that as like, you're out for yourself and you're just seeking, you know, your own glory. Like, we know what you're worth. Like, if you want to have your worth proven, prove it with actions, not by petitioning 7 times. Tamari oversees her vessel's final preparation before learning that the expedition is to be joined by the renowned reckoning beast hunter Neander Orgelin. And the reason Neander Orgelin is on there is because he amassed a ton of debt because he had a bunch of beasts for the Reckoneers arena, and he amassed like a ridiculous amount of debt. And so like, he was no longer useful for the Empire. After many days at sea, the adventuress enters the Serpentine Delta. This is Tamari's first real glimpse of the wilderness that awaits her and her crew. That's right here, the Serpentine Delta. They take this path in. The jungle does not treat foreign invaders kindly. Unable to find their bearings on any quarry for the beast hunters, the Noxians' morale and discipline begins to falter. And then they die, horribly, by beasts of prey and animals in general, and literally the jungle itself. It's crazy how it happens. I recommend you guys read the story, or I literally did a reading of the story. I did my best. It was like one of my earlier videos, but you could check it out. Yeah, I go through the whole one. Then there's also elemental drakes. So Ishtal, not a safe place. My adventure's verdict, a death sentence, unless you have an express invitation from the ruling caste, which you will not get. Your expedition will end in an unmarked, vine-choked grave. That's Ishtal. But even more dangerous than Ishtal. Even more dangerous, guys, than Ishtal. We're in the top 3 now. The Freljord. The Freljord is a land defined by a singular, brutal truth. Survival. It is a frozen, war-torn wasteland where you face a layered death trap. The environment, near constant winter, is a lethal threat that can claim the unprepared in minutes. The people, the land is locked in a bitter 3-way civil war between the 3 tribes. Ash, Sejuani, and the mysterious Lysandra are their leaders. So there's Ash is the leaders of the Avarosans, Sejuani is the leaders of the Winter Claw, and Lysandra leads the Frost Guard. So 3-way rivalry and an ancient evil. Lysandra's Frost Guard are not just a tribe, they are the jailers of the Watchers, horrific entities from the void trapped in true ice. The civil war threatens to weaken their prison, dooming all of Runeterra. The Freljord presents lethal threats on every possible scale simultaneously: personal, freezing to death; political, dying in a war; and existential, being erased by the void. This ice is already weakening. We see it in the story, the Eye in the Abyss. That's literally an image of the Eye in the Abyss. You can see the pillars there. Look at this. I love this image, holding back the darkness. Oh, I want to read this to you guys too. Warriors of the Keeper's Lodge diligently patrol the locations of some of the largest known watchers. This particular beast is known as the Pierce Eye, ever since it was skewered with titanic mortis stones dropped from the fortress high above. And this is holding back the darkness. At key points throughout the Howling Abyss, gigantic spiked barricades of stone and iron were set into the walls by the Frostguard many thousands of years ago. One day when the Watchers reawaken, these meager defenses may buy some precious time for those above to prepare for the final battle. And by final battle, they mean like the end of the world. If the Watchers escape, we're pretty doomed. My region, I don't mind if it's dangerous. Hey, I will say this, Freljord is my favorite. It probably is my favorite zone in all of Runeterra. It's got the best lore. You've got Ornn, you've got Volibear. I do think Sejuani and Ashe have something to do with the Three Sisters. Like Ashe maybe truly has, she definitely has some ties to Avarosa. I mean, her bow radiates against her back to help her make decisions. So there's some connection there. It's rumored that they're reincarnations of Cyrilda and Avarosa. The Frostguard I think are great. Lissandra's a great villain because like her goal isn't really bad. Like it's to keep the Watchers in check. She did make a mistake, but she seeks to atone for it by keeping the Watchers imprisoned, and she's trying to save all of Runeterra from the void. But like she's clearly a bad character because of how she goes about doing it. Bad for the right reasons is Lissandra, at least now. There's a ton of great story there. That's why Song of Nunu is my favorite Riot Forge game. If you've never played Song of Nunu, I would recommend that. Yeah, the Frostguard, the freaking Iceborn are great. The trolls with Trundle. There's not a lot to hate about Freljord. The freaking Howling Abyss, yeah, it's an easy zone to love, but it is a dangerous one. But even more dangerous than the Freljord, number 2 spot, the Shadow Isles, the Land of the Damned. Threat level, extreme. The Shadow Isles are not a place, they are a malevolent curse. Once the beautiful Blessed Isles, a magical cataclysm called the Ruination shattered the veil between life and death, transforming this into a realm of eternal nightmare, shrouded in the soul-devouring black mist. You can see this is when the Blessed Isles became the Shadow Isles. That's his wife, Isolde. He put her in the Blessed Waters. They told him not to. And she awoke a violent wraith and wrung him through with his sword, Soul Render. And the problem is that Soul Render would like try to basically break his soul, consume his soul, but then the Blessed Waters was also healing him. And that's what locked this whole area in undeath. Yeah, and you can see this, boom. And now, 1,000 years later, it's the Shadow Isles. Present day. So yeah, that's what happens. That's what made the Blessed Isles into the Shadow Isles, and its danger is absolute. The very land drains life away, but death is not an escape. It is a true beginning of the horror. All souls are trapped and tormented forever by predatory spirits like Thresh, Hecarim, and Callista. In every other region, death is the end. In the Shadow Isles, death is the moment you lose forever. There's no treasure to be won. I wouldn't say that, actually. There is a lot of treasure to be won in the Shadow Isles. There's a lot of good things in the Shadow Isles. They held a lot of the weapons. Literally all the Sentinels of Light weapons come from the Shadow Isles. So there's some powerful stuff there. But I wouldn't say there's glory to be had that's worth the price. So there's no treasure to be won or glory to be had that's worth the price that you'll have to pay to get it. So my adventurer's verdict for the Shadow Isles is turn back. There's nothing for you here but death, followed by an eternity of undeath as a slave to darkness. This is not a challenge to be overcome, it is a doom to be fled. I feel like a lot of people might read that and think that that sounds like a good thing. right? They want to play like that dark, brooding character. I understand, right? But we're not talking Death Knights here. We're talking like you're just the specter, okay, being tormented. The Death Knights are the ones who are torturing you. So let's keep that in mind. But number one, the most dangerous place in all of Runeterra that you really want to avoid is Acacia and the Void, the noble end, and threat level absolute. The greatest threat is not a region, but a wound in reality. Where the nation of Acacia once stood, there is now a permanent gateway to the ultimate final threat, the Void. You guys should know what Acacia happened with Acacia now. They had that war with Shurima and the Ascended, and they were losing. And to basically counteract that, they were like, oh, well, let's unleash the Void, and that'll help us. It didn't help them. Destroyed everything, killed everyone. It was horrible. The Void, it is the screaming, hungering, and utterly alien nothingness that exists between realities. Its singular purpose is to unmake all of creation. The ancient Acacians, in a desperate rebellion against Shurima, tore open reality and unleashed the Void as a weapon. It erased their enemies, and then it erased them. The Void's danger is absolute because it operates outside the laws of reality. Its goals is not damnation or conquest, but total oblivion, the reduction of everything to nothing. The Void is the end of Runeterra as we know it. Should the Void really get out of Acacia, be reawakened and spread the way it wants by consuming matter and growing even further, it's the greatest threat that Runeterra has. So if you see a shimmering purple rift tear open in the fabric of reality, you do not run. You're already gone. This is the promise of absolute erasure of body, mind, soul, the very memory of you that ever existed. Okay? And I think, where's that one story? Did I put it in here? Where Acacia once stood. Well, I did a whole article on it too. So I'd recommend you guys go watch that and read that article. Acacia, don't go there. And if you do go there and you start seeing, purple void, it's too late. And that's my list. You have now toured the length and breadth of Runeterra's myriad dangers, from the gilded cages of its cities to the screaming void at the edges of creation. The world is one of breathtaking beauty and even greater peril. The key to your survival will not be the strength of your arm or the power of your spells alone, but the wisdom to know which battles to fight and which lands to avoid entirely. Let the guide be your compass in the dark. May your blade stay sharp, your mind clear, and your soul your own. Good luck, adventurer. You'll need it. And so that's my list. Piltover, Demacia, Ionia, Bandle City. Then we get into some darker ones, I think Targon, Bilgewater, Noxus. Then you get even heavier now, Shurima, Zon, Ishtal, the Freljord, and then places that are just don't go. The Shadow Isles with Acacia and the Void being the absolute end. Nothing that wishes to exist.